I'm allowed to cut things that should have never been approved in the first place, and I will probably do that.
And we know many of my Republican colleagues want this as well. But failure to act would be devastating.
Democrats fire back at each other after Trump shutdown fails. Democrats are turning their fury inward after the Trump shutdown crashed and burned. What started as a united stand has exploded into chaos. Accusations flying, tempers flaring, and alliances breaking apart. The party that vowed to stand strong is now tearing itself apart from the inside.
Trump calling this an unprecedented opportunity to shrink the federal bureaucracy, cutting programs that don't align with his agenda.
Main part. The US government went dark at midnight. One missed vote, one failed deal, and suddenly, millions of federal workers were told not to come back in the morning. Offices closed, paychecks frozen, airports half-staffed. By sunrise, Washington wasn't just shut down, it was in chaos.
3 of the government shutdown, with neither side willing to compromise on a spending plan. The Trump administration now turning to unprecedented tactics, hoping to get Democrats to give in.
This wasn't the first shutdown, but October 1st, 2025 hit differently. The headlines called it the Trump shutdown. Not because Trump was in office, he wasn't, but because every move, every message, every power play had his fingerprints all over it. It began as a political gamble and within days spiraled into one of the most brutal power fights in years.
Firing thousands of federal employees outside of the context of a government shutdown since January 20th.
At midnight, Congress failed to pass a funding bill that would have kept the government open. Trump-backed Republicans refused to budge, demanding spending cuts and strict immigration rules. Democrats called it blackmail. Trump called it strategy. And just like that, Washington went to war, but the Democrats didn't realize they'd soon be fighting each other too. Trump wanted leverage, plain and simple. He framed Democrats as elitists who cared more about bureaucracy than people. His allies followed suit. No deal until we get what we want. It wasn't about compromise anymore, it was about control.
Trump would have made the cuts even without a shutdown.
Then came the next move, Trump's gamble. While the government was paralyzed, his campaign team flooded social media with AI-edited videos mocking Democratic leaders. Fake debates, edited speeches, satire that looked almost real. The message? Democrats did this. And as if that wasn't enough, the White House leaked something chilling. If talks went nowhere, furloughs could turn into permanent layoffs. That had never been done before. It was ruthless, and Trump's base loved it.
750,000 federal workers have been furloughed. Key economic data has gone unpublished. Some agencies almost completely shuttered.
For 3 days, right-wing media hailed it as a masterstroke. Trump's winning again, they cheered. But by day 3, the cracks started showing. Fast. Federal agencies froze, national parks shut down, flights delayed, and food assistance programs hovered near suspension.
A majority of Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown.
Public opinion flipped. A Reuters poll showed 61% blamed Trump's camp. The Trump shutdown label stuck, and suddenly the White House was scrambling. What had looked like strategy now looked like cruelty. And that's when Democrats started breaking from the inside.
We haven't wanted to negotiate. We just want to keep the government open. That's been the Republican and the Trump White House position since the very beginning.
Behind closed doors, progressives accused party leaders of being spineless. "You don't negotiate with a hostage taker," one lawmaker shouted. Moderates worried about optics. Voters didn't care who was right, they just wanted it over.
Democrats say they'll only support a government spending plan that reverses cuts to Medicaid and extends Obamacare subsidies to prevent health insurance premiums from rising.
Soon, the story wasn't Trump versus Democrats. It was Democrats versus Democrats. News outlets pounced. Party implodes amid shutdown chaos. Democrats erupt as Trump scores PR win. And Trump? He didn't even have to lift a finger. Every leak, every argument made him look stronger. By the end of week 1, Washington was a battlefield of broken trust. The Democrats were divided, Trump's allies were smirking, and the country was exhausted. When the government shut down, something else did too. Faith that Washington could ever work again.
Where they managed to agree a funding deal and they had actually a backlash saying, "You're propping up this Trump."
The chaos spilled into America's living rooms. Cable news went wild, endless panels, red banners, and talking heads screaming over one another. Fox called it Trump's triumph. MSNBC sighed through damage control. Even late-night hosts joked, the government's closed, but the drama department's still open.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the quorum call be lifted.
Without objection.
And the press conferences? Brutal. Democrats, red-eyed and furious, snapped at reporters and each other. One clip of two senators arguing mid-question went viral, complete with circus music edits on TikTok. Hashtags like hashtag Dems vs Dems trended for days.
The White House aiming to convince Americans otherwise. Running shutdown clock on its website with the caption, Democrats have shut down the government.
For every hour the shutdown dragged on, the blame quietly shifted, from Trump to the people trying to stop him. The cruel irony? The longer Democrats argued about how to fix it, the more they looked like the ones breaking it. Inside Congress, things weren't much better. Think less lawmakers at work and more family dinner gone nuclear. Some begged for a short-term deal, others slammed the table. No way we give Trump a win. A leaked audio clip captured one Democrat shouting, "We're losing the messaging war." And they were. Every argument became another headline. The party's laundry wasn't just out, it was spinning on national TV. Biden's advisors were furious. One reportedly muttered, "The president looks weak." And that's the one thing no White House can afford.
This is a now thing because those premiums are hitting when on November 1st, when that mark.
By now, this wasn't about budgets, it was about control. Who controlled the story, the narrative, the optics? Democrats were fighting Republicans on paper, but in reality, they were fighting for their own survival. Then Trump escalated. On October 5th, Reuters dropped the bombshell. Trump threatens permanent layoffs if no deal reached soon. Permanent. Thousands of federal employees flooded hotlines terrified. Am I fired? Managers had no answers. Even essential workers, still working unpaid, started asking how long before they'd be next.
But even more outrageous is the fact that they're going home and they're getting paid. And what about the millions of federal workers who aren't getting paid?
By nightfall, protest lines formed outside the Capitol. Signs read, "We serve America, not politics," and "End the shutdown." It wasn't partisan anymore, it was human. Parents, veterans, teachers, all furious they'd become bargaining chips in someone else's game.
But so far they haven't come to an agreement, and according to the Senate Democrats, the Senate Republicans offered them virtually nothing new.
Cable news ran Trump's threat on loop. Pundits argued legality, but legality didn't matter. The message was clear. Fear was now a political tool. What started as a budget fight had turned into something darker, a test of raw power. The Trump shutdown wasn't about numbers anymore. It was about dominance.
Because Donald Trump and Republicans insist on raising Americans' health care premiums and kicking millions off their insurance. Sending premiums skyrocketing, as Republicans insist, is fundamentally unsustainable.
And even with outrage rising, Democrats couldn't agree on their next move. Some wanted to hold firm. Others said they were losing too much ground. It was chaos wrapped in ego.
So that is all Democrats want to fix. We are on the side of the people. The people know it and want it and need it.
By day 6, the country was exhausted. Federal workers were desperate. Cable news relentless. And somewhere in D.C., a tired intern updated the days without funding whiteboard for the 6th time. Trump authorized negotiations. The man who'd promised to show who's boss had finally blinked. Polls were brutal. Approval ratings nosedived. Even conservative outlets began murmuring, maybe this wasn't the best idea.
A few days back. If we don't act now, then at least 22 million people will see their health care premiums double on average.
Democrats, meanwhile, couldn't decide whether to celebrate or apologize. Some wanted a victory lap, others just wanted sleep. So instead of triumph, they stumbled.
It's likely going to be in the thousands. It's a very good question, and that's something that the Office of Management and Budget and the entire team at the White House here, again, is unfortunately having to work on.
Finally, a deal. A short-term funding bill. The government reopened, workers exhaled. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like a bad group project where the troublemakers still got credit. But just when the lights flicked back on, the real drama began. The Democrats turned on each other like it was the finale of House of Cards. Progressives accused leaders of playing it safe. Centrists fired back that the far left had handed Trump the narrative. Behind closed doors, chaos continued. Hakeem Jeffries faced revolt from frustrated caucus members. Leaks flew faster than statements. Hashtags like hashtag Blue Civil War and hashtag Shutdown Shambles trended for days.
People are learning about this issue, and they're aghast that their premiums could go up so much. They're aghast that our Republican colleagues don't even want to fix it.
One exhausted staffer muttered to reporters, "We ended the shutdown, but not the self-destruction." It wasn't a budget fight anymore. It was an identity crisis. Who were the Democrats now? The party of resistance, compromise, or confusion? By the end of the week, one truth stood out. The government reopened, but Democratic unity didn't survive. Here's what everyone missed while counting polls and retweets. This wasn't just a shutdown, it was a stress test for American democracy.
The American people overwhelmingly support affordable health care. 70% of Americans support extending the ACA premium tax credit, according to a poll released yesterday by the Washington Post.
Trump, without holding office, proved he could paralyze Washington with nothing but words and media pressure. A private citizen wielding power like a sitting president, that's not strategy, that's a warning.
Funding extension. It's passed the House of Representatives, and it's currently sitting right here in the Senate, ready to be voted on. It has no new Republican.
He didn't flex muscle, he flexed illusion. He weaponized attention until the entire Capitol danced to his chaos. And Democrats? They proved something too, just not what they wanted. The shutdown exposed fractures between the old guard and the new, the fighters and the fixers, the ones who wanted to stand up to Trump and the ones begging to move past him. The government reopened. But the cracks? They're still there. And that's where we leave it. Not with resolution, but a question. And when the credits roll, remember, the Trump shutdown didn't just shut down Washington, it exposed it. Like the video and hit the subscribe button to get more updates.